Mr. Shin.
All right, Chem 1 students, I see you again here. Oh, now it's time to before we proceed to the new chapter, any questions that you want to raise? Now, for some other questions inside your exercise, the remaining they are just said to you before. Something related to qualitative analysis, something related to the preparation of salts, okay, and something related to the calculations part, okay, and you know that. Oh, sorry about that. I need to stop the way. Did I record the lesson on Tuesday? Tuesday, yes. So you want to retrieve it onto your YouTube, isn't it? So you may get it right after this lesson. I'll just make a set. Tuesday, 26. For those, I would like to remind all of you that you would have a very harsh topic for chapter 16, I must tell. Now, as discussed with Mr. Wong of Chem 2, we would like to have arrangement next week. We would like to place a 45-minute quiz. Not quiz, it's test indeed. So it is about the coverage will be about the original half-year exam scope, okay? So we would like to have a 25-minute test next week on the concepts that were covered in term 1. So I would like to make you as a boundary. it is from Form 3 chemistry to what you have learned just well before the last day of our face-to-face lesson, okay? So this is the late November. So in other words, the scope will be the same as the originally planned half-year exam. Can you get my point? So, which is the scope will be from book 1A to book 1C. There will be a 45-minute test next week, accepted by Mr. Wong. Okay, so we would come up with the date to make it happen. Before I receive any new notification, right? The original quiz arrangement will stay as this. Okay, until I receive the final confirmation of the date of one more test. It is 45-minute test on book 1A to book 1C. Is that clear? Okay. About the date, sorry to tell you that I cannot make it for now because I need to discuss with Mr. Wong to come up with the date, such that Chem 1 and Chem 2 students can do it together. Can you get my point? So without receiving any more information, our quizzes will stay as this, which means this Friday, tomorrow, we will have a test on alkali, chapter 14 on alkali. Well, next week, next Wednesday, this will cover the concepts of strength of action in alkali. But lastly, is of the uses of neutralization. But don't worry if that is really the case. For those two quizzes, I will postpone. Okay, if that is finally make that 45-minute test next week, I will postpone my quizzes first. Such that you will have time to study. Any questions? Or maybe get used to it, right? You may get used of the daily quizzes or daily work, right? Which means nothing changed, right, to you? Nothing special to you, isn't it? Any objection? 1, 2, 3, no. I received no objection, huh? So we will continue. Maybe somebody might argue, Mr. Chin, can I choose? Yes, you can choose. You can choose to do something. But so far, this is not allowed, right? 再問多次，第16課有冇嘢想問？有冇嘢唔清晰？嗱，冇嘅話咧，let me check your attendance first。冇嘅話咧，咁我哋就係咪翻晒嚟啊？大家都學校日都翻咗啦。嗱，學校日 I just private message something to you. Now you better check your phone. 嗱，嚟了咯喎，啲無計數機出嚟咯喎。嗱，我想喺個 Chinese New Year 之前咧，就 cover 埋第17課。咁睇情況啦，睇下農曆年假之後有冇得做 lab 啊？咁冇得做 lab 冇辦法啦。咁但係就可以做住啲計數先啦。OK， now this is the core part of the acid and alkaline, which is the calculations. A very long topic, I must tell. A very long topic. But most of the time we will focus on calculations. Oh, it's time to take your calculator out. Now, before we start, we will see that term, volumetric analysis. So volumetric analysis, it is a one type of quantitative analysis. Quantitative, which means something about how what is the content inside. Okay, how much content inside. So you talk about the quantitative analysis. So volumetric analysis means that is the quantitative analysis involving the measurement of volume. So we need to deal with a solution. Most of the time, when you talk about chemistry, or we talk about chemical reactions, and many equations involving the mixing of the solutions. While the chemicals in each solution will have the reaction with each other. So, but you may know that if you want to do some estimation of some chemicals, you must look back to number of moles of substances inside. Okay, so as chemistry, as a chemist, we cannot just rely on the mass, right? But also for some instance, we deal with the solution, right? Only measuring the mass cannot help you better understand what is the number of moles inside. So we have to change a little bit to get to know more on what is the chemical, how do I calculate the amount of the substances inside. So what I mean is in the solution, we have got two substances. One is the solute, one is the solvent, right? So whenever you talk about the number of moles of the chemical involved in chemical reactions, we usually deal with the term solute. Okay, solute, but not solvent. Most of the time you talk about solvent, it's just water. Okay, so water doesn't play any role as a reactive species, right? Unless for some other special case. But in aqueous medium, I must tell you that most of the time it's not water, the solvent, which will act as a reactant. Instead, it is a solute. So we have got two ways to calculate the concentration. One is in gram per dm cube. The other one is mole per dm cube. Now, for the first one, it is the term used by the public. Well, for mole per dm cube, most of the time we need to deal with it if you want to talk to chemists. So most of the time we need to deal with mole per dm cube. But in chemistry, we would say the word molarity instead. Molarity. So whenever you will see the word molarity, for example, calculate the molarity of NaCl solution. So the unit of this must be mole per dm cube. But if you want to talk about the concentration of NaCl, for example, so that may refer to gram per dm cube, okay? Or you may refer to mole per dm cube. So you have to read the questions very carefully to get to know the unit of the questions they are looking for. Can you get the point? But remember, once you talk about molarity, that must relate to the term molar concentration. Molar concentration, which means the unit for that, it is calculated as per dm cube of solution. How many moles of the solute can be found inside? Can you get the point? So if you want to change the term from concentration to molarity, how can we make it? So it's done by what? It's done by the changing of the units, right? The changing of the unit. For the concentration of solution in gram per dm cube over the molar mass of the solute. So you may see gram per dm cube over gram per mole. So the gram on both numerator and denominator will be eliminated. Leaving behind, we rearrange the whole thing. We come back to mole per dm cube. So this is what I would like to remind all of you. Any questions? Now, I would like to ask you guys to do question 1 and 2 on the class practice 17.1, page 106. And for question 2, remember to put a star here because it seems like more like a DSE type questions. Now for question 1, it is just a practice, the warm up to change the unit. Concentration of a solution is 15.60 gram per dm cube. What's the mass of solute is there in this? So you may find the unit. Now, moles of solute are expressed in gram. So cm cube by changing to dm cube, right? So you may get those unit there. So the mass of solute in the solution, how do I calculate? It is the concentration of a solution times volume of solution. So you check the unit and you can get what I mean. The concentrated solution is 15.6 gram per dm cube, while for volume is 750.0 times 10 to the power minus 3 dm cube. You cross out those dm cube terms. Leaving behind, we've got gram, which is 11.7 gram. 11.7 gram. Now, one thing I would like to remind all of you is on the change the word cm cube to dm cube. So it is the difference lies on the factor 1,000. So remember to times 10 to the power minus 3. If you want to change the volume from cm cube to dm cube. Questions? Easy, right? Easy start. How about question 2? Question 2, the calculations involve the concentration of the KOH. From the label, you may find the liquid contains 44% of KOH by mass. According to the information above, calculate the concentration of a KOH solution in gram per dm cube. Second, in mole per dm cube. How we deal with that problem? 係咪轉單位啊？轉單位轉到傻晒喎，咁點轉啊 ？So you would refer to the bottle again, right? The bottle states that two important items. The density equals 1.45 gram per dm cube, gram per cm cube. While for the, you may see the word 44%. 44%. So which means that 44% of KOH by mass. %. So what is meant by that? What is meant by 44% by KOH by mass? Now, in order to answer that questions, that you may have that idea, what is that remaining 56%? Right? Without figuring out what is that 56%, you cannot proceed. So what is that 56%? So what is that?
水嚟㗎嘛？
係水嚟㗎 ，very good. Can you get a point? It is water. While 44%, it is just KOH. Why? The concentrated KOH comprises only two parts, the solute and solvent, right? So whenever you talk about by mass, that should have the mass of the solute and solvent. So the solvent part, they will weight 56%, while the solute part only weight you 44%. Is that clear? So how would you make it as gram per dm cube? So you should know what data. So the concentration of KOH in gram per dm cube. So which means that you are going to have the calculation as what? The mass of KOH over the volume of KOH solution. Can you get a point? Now, if the case is very simple, you may directly substitute the data there. How will you get that data? First of all, mass of KOH. Is it 44? I just mark it as percent. Can I make it 44 gram? If I make it 44 gram, so what is the volume of KOH for that?
100 gram.
100 gram solution. How about volume? Is it 100 cm cube?
乘返個 density 啊。
Yeah, so you may see the density term plays an important role in these calculations. Now, so how will you deal with that problem? Now, there are so many different approaches to this. 有好多方法計嘅呢個。咁 one of them would require you to come up with gram per dm cube. So one type of the questions they would allow you to start from this mass of 1 dm cube of solution. Now why? Because I want to be lazy. Now if the denominator is calculated as 1 dm cube, I can save much time to come up with that gram. Can you get the point? So mass of 1 dm cube solution contains KOH and water, both of them, okay? So, but the density data, what you will get is 1.45 gram per cm cube, which means that this is calculated 1.45 gram per cm cube times what? 1000 cm cube. Can you get a point? So 1 dm cube equals 1000 cm cube. Now, okay, so what you will get is about 1450 gram. So you get that inside 1450 grams. Okay, but that gram, remember, contains two parts, KOH and H2O. KOH weighs about 44%, water weighs about 56%. So what you should do another data treatment on come up with the mass of KOH only. So this is you by doing so you can get calculated answer 1450 gram times 44.0% equals 638 gram. It's that clear, Meng Meng. So after that, you use that data and put it back here. And then, what's next? Done. 做完啦. Why? Because 658 gram of KOH, you are now going to have a volume of solution 1 dm cube. So the calculations is just made. 就係做完啦，就係做完啦。So 1000 cm cube of solution, which means what? 1 dm cube of the solution. So the case is just as simple. 就係咁啦。Questions? 做完啦。So which is what? Which is equal to 638 gram per dm cube. Meng Meng. This is part 1. The second part, you want to make it to mole per dm cube, right? So the way to change it to concentration of KOH in mole per dm cube, which is calculated as concentration of KOH in gram per dm cube, over what? The molar mass of KOH. Why? You got it a unit, gram per mole. So I change the unit, right? And put it per mole back upward. So what will you get the data? It is mole per dm cube, and this is what we are looking for. Understand? So it is 638 gram per dm cube. So the molar mass of KOH, what is that? 39.1 plus 16.0 plus 1.0, 56.1 gram per mole. Okay, we calculate is 11.4. Now, I would like to remind you something very important about the calculations of molarity of a solution. First of all, molarity of solution ranges a very large data, but that large data will be as high as 10 or 15, okay, or 16, something like that. Do not exceed 20. Or once you calculate the molarity of KOH being 1,000, more than 1,000, or more than 100, sorry, you better check the whole procedure again. You may get it wrong. Do you understand? But for the concentration of KOH in gram per dm cube, so you may find the data as large as more than 100. Now, this is normal. Do you understand? 明唔明呢度？有冇嘢問？有需要 cap 圖就而家教啦。有冇嘢問？記住摩爾濃度個數最大可以去到幾多？2位數，仲要幾多啊？10零㗎咋？摩爾濃度，摩爾濃度咩意思啊 ？Molarity， 亦都係講緊 mole per dm cube，得唔得？呢個數唔好計到幾百啊！如果你計到幾百咧，唔該你由頭到尾再睇多次嗰個步驟。有冇轉錯單位啊？有冇乘除數搞亂咗啊？嗰啲等等，明唔明白？但係 concentration of a solution in gram per dm cube 咧，係個數值可以好大，幾百都得嘅。咁佢哋兩個之間轉換係咩啊？由 gram per dm cube 轉 mole per dm cube 咧，就請你除 molar mass of solute。有冇嘢問 ？get 到未 ？get 到未 ？Come on 有同學明唔明？有冇嘢問？冇啦，冇就繼續咯噃。好 ，17.2。Now we come to another concept which involves a diluting of a solution. Dilution is a very important procedure in analysis. Sometimes you dilute the solution because you want to save the chemicals. Okay, and also it will add you some more accuracy in getting to know the data inside when you are having titration, for example. That the so-called the error inside can also be controlled, right, by diluting carefully the solution. So how would you make use of this equation? The equation is very funny. You talk about that if I'm going to dilute the solution, something is conserved. What is that? the solute. The number of moles of solute inside is conserved. So you base on this data and you come up with its own formula. Number of moles of solute in solution before dilution. So we have got the molarity of solution before dilution times the volume of the solution before dilution. Okay, similarly, the one on the right-hand side, it is molarity of a solution after dilution times volume. So here comes that the relationship, and you may find it on page 107 as well. Okay, is that clear? So we come to another part on 17.2. What is the concentration of a solution obtained by diluting 50.0 cm cube, 2.0 mole per dm cube of sodium carbonate solution with water to make up to 800.0 cm cube of a solution? So remember, 800.0 cm cube refers to the volume of solution after dilution. So what is the concentration obtained? So you may use that formula, right? MV, right? So the molarity volume before dilution equals molarity times volume of the chemicals after dilution. You directly substitute the data inside. So before dilution, here comes 2.00 mole per dm cube, okay, times 50.0 times 10 to the power minus 3 dm cube. The molarity after dilution is M after dilution times volume. The volume is 800.0 times 10 to the power minus 3 dm cube. So you may get the units for the molarity of a solution after dilution in mole per dm cube, still as mole per dm cube. How we get it is 0.125. So you may get the molarity of the diluted sodium carbonate solution is 0.125 mole per dm cube. Is that clear? But wait a minute, Mr. Chin. Why do I need to do such? I just want to describe as a somewhat a stupid ad. Why? Now, so we have got 50.0 cm cube of the solution. You want to dilute to 800.0 times 10 to the power minus 3 dm cube. So 50 increases to 800. Okay. How many types of dilution do we have? It's just 16. It's just 16 times. Right? How? How can I know that it's 16? 800 over 50 equals 16, isn't it? So what do I want to tell you? is that original molarity of the sodium carbonate solution. It is 2.00 times 10 to 2.00 dm cube. It's just 1/16 of that data. Is it? Can you get a point? So which means that the dilute polarity of Na2CO3 solution is just 1/16 of original molarity of NaCl solution, Na2CO3 solution. 16, 1/16 times 2.00, which is what? 1x, right? It is simply 0.125. Can you get the point? Which means that these two are the two different approaches, but you are heading towards the same answer. 明唔明呢條題目話咩？如果我同學真係利用翻本身嗰條 formula 計咧，唔係計唔到嘅。不過咧有第二種諗法嘅。個第二種諗法就係原本你個 solution 50 cm cube， 而家就變咗800 cm cube， 咁咪溝起咗16倍咯，係嘛？咁所以我咪將原本嗰個數除16，咪做完咯。跟唔跟到？嗱，呢個好緊要嘅一個技巧嚟嘅呢個。有陣時唔好咁即係又望住條 equation 去濕咧，其實你都計到嘅，不過你諗真啲，咦係喎，原來就咁簡單嘅，係啊，就係咁樣。你諗得再直接啲嘅，兩個都俾嘅，不過你要寫清楚啦。Here comes a 16-time dilution, right, from 50.0 cm cube to 800.0 cm cube of a solution, which means there is a 16-time dilution before you divide the original molarity over 16. Questions? 明係嘛？ Now here comes the second questions. The pH of a sample of dilute HCl is 1.20. How much water should be mixed with 100.0 cm cube of acid to obtain the resulting submixture of pH 2.20? 咁煩㗎，問乜鬼啊？呢條即係話原本個酸係1.20啦，你加水啊溝起佢，咁啊原本個 acid 咧就100 cm cube， 你要加幾多水就漸可以將個酸咧個 pH 值咧由1.20轉到2.20，溝起咗嘛？好啦，咁如果係呢個嘅話，你會點樣做？如果俾你嘅話，我問你口頭，睇下有冇人諗到點樣做先。黃成軒咯。黃成軒，你會點樣做啊？
諗下加幾多個 hydrogen layer，因為要升翻個 P。
加咗啲咩啊？
即係要計俾幾多 hydrogen，因為 pH 要即係變翻由1.2變2。
哦，你想計啲 hydrogen 嘅乜嘢啊？嗱 hydrogen ion 啊，你咪想講嗱 H 啊嘛 pH 個 H 係意思指 hydrogen ion 啊，所以其實 pH 值咧嘅高低係反緊 hydrogen ion 嘅乜嘢啊？知唔知啊？
越高即係
越少係咪啊？越少啊，
係咪
越高嘅數值越少，多少啊？即係計 mol 啦喎，係咪啊？係咪計 mol 啊？應該計濃度啊嚇。所以咧，而家嗰個 hydrogen ion 嘅濃度咧係變咗嘅，但係點變都好，有一樣嘢冇變嘅係乜嘢？有一樣嘢係冇變嘅。
number of moles of hydrogen ion
係咯 ，number of hydrogen ion 咯。咁所以你哋覺得個 approach 係應該點咧？一開始
係咪要負 log 咗嗰個 pH 先？
係負 log 咗個 pH 先，跟住咁點咧？即係揾翻 hydrogen ion 先兩個，跟住咧，即係我想知道原本 hydrogen ion 有幾多 mol 係嘛？即係未溝起之前，100 cm cube 1.20 pH 嘅 HCl 入邊有幾多 hydrogen 嘅 mol 係嘛？係咪咁意思啊？咁下步你會點做咧？跟住計翻 mol 係咪？咁等於翻2.20嗰陣時咁稀，咁你計到啲咩？咁解完一大餐 M， 即係又係 MV 啦，係咪？MV 嘅 before dilution 等於 MV 嘅 after dilution， 係。咁你哋試下計咯喎，睇下計到啲咩啊？正路啊，好正路啊，咁諗。咁輪到你計啦，我哋計啦，睇下你計到啲咩嘢啦。一開始你會係啦，咁一開始咧，你係計緊咩咧？原本計 pH 係咪？pH before dilution 就1.20，即係話咧 hydrogen ion 咧 before dilution 咧就會係10嘅 powerful pH 係嘛？10嘅負1.20。好，有人話一個 DM 區，一個 DM 區，知唔知點解啊？嗱，黃耀朗自己識答啦，俾人陰咗啦，係咪啊？你知唔知俾人陰咗啦？係啦，終於修正到啦，0.0631呢條題目個中心思想就係陰你嗰下啦。係林正漢有嘢想講。係咪？咁你做個 pH after dilution， 好，鄭學明計到900，陳許霆計到1個 D 嘅，一個 DM
揾到，人哋唔係問最後嗰個 volume， 而係 how much water should be mixed。
係啦，所以你要減翻數嘅，所以咧要計翻減翻100 DM 級嘅，唔係100 cm 級嘅。咁呢個咧就係成個計法啦，可以係咁樣嘅。6.31乘10嘅負3，跟住就 mol per DM 級。咁你可以咁樣計啦。 suppose the volume of the resulting mixture 係 V 啦 ，V 咁多嘅 cm cube 啦，咁所以咧你可以計 mv before dilution 啦，亦都等於 mv after dilution。咁你用呢個方法咧，你個計個 m 咧就係 molarity 啦，咁你就會計得到咧，將上邊嘅就冚唪唥塞晒落啦，0.0631就 mol per cm cube。就乘 volume 100.0乘10嘅負3 dm cube 等於另外嗰邊啦，6.31乘10嘅負3 mol per dm cube 就乘 volume times 10 to the power minus 3嘅 dm cube。咁你咁樣計咧，你計到 V 嘅 ，V 咧其實係計到1000嘅，即係話咧呢一度咧你係計緊 cm cube 啊嘛，咁你咪即係1000個 cm cube 咯。咁但係1000 cm cube 咧就包含咗而家呢度100啊嘛，跟住咧成個 solution 咧就1000啊嘛。但係整1000嗰時咧，你個100係包咗入邊嘅，得唔得？咁所以咧，人哋問你係咩咧？人哋問你呢一嚿加幾多水，明唔明？咁所以咧 ，volume of water added it is simply 1000 minus 900 and 100 equals 900 cm cube。咁所以咧，你要咁樣計咧，你就計到係900嘅。咁啦，咁但係咧呢度要俾翻點零我，因為題目有點零啊，俾翻點零我。咁所以咧 volume of water added 咧 is just 900 cm cube， 900.0 cm cube should be mixed with the acid. Can you get the point? Because remember, 1000 cm cube include the volume of originally added acid, but you're going to add extra, but you need to get to know the volume of water instead. get 到啦嘛？有同學搞咁多嘢嘅，喂，有冇人係用其他方法㗎？嗱，好正統啦，係嘛？正統到唔肯啦咁寫。嗱，不過咧你又望下咯喎，咁你見到阿 Sir 諗到咁樣問，即係有啲蠱惑嘢啦，有啲蠱惑招數啊。咁你留意一下咧，成條題目咧，你有冇發覺自己做呢啲事好戇居？點解咧？嗱 ，diluting the HCl from its pH 1.20 to 2.20, okay, which means that I need to increase 1 unit of pH, okay, 1 unit of pH, 啱唔啱？係嘛？即係話你咧 difference in pH 係1.00啊嘛，升高咗1.00嘛。Okay, as pH equals minus negative log hydrogen ion concentration, which means that 10 times dilution of acid is needed. 啱唔啱先 ？pH 值升1個單位，即係溝稀10倍咯，啱唔啱？好啦，溝稀10倍，咁即係話俾你聽咩啊 ？As 10 times dilution of acid, okay? To have a 10 times dilution of acid, 9 portions of water is enough is added。咁所以咩咧？咁樣點啊？咁咩叫9 portions 啊？咁我要知道咩咧？一份嘅酸即係幾多？係嘛？或者調翻轉啦，阿 Sir 你咁寫好似有咩 safety 嘅問題喎，冇問題，咁我調翻轉咯，係嘛？係 to 1 portion of acid， you are going to add 1 portion of acid to 9 portions of water。明唔明？咁咩叫 1 portion 啊？1 portion 咪就係你話事嘅啫。條題目係100 cm³嘛，所以 volume of water added 就係等於咩？9乘100.0等於900.0 cm³。明唔明？嚇？乜咁簡單嘅咋？係啊，將個酸溝稀10倍，加9份水咯。呢、個就係傳說中嘅1:9啦。乜嘢1:9啊？我未聽過喎。1:9啊，9你有冇聽過啊？
漂白水稀釋嘅嘢喎。
係啊，漂白水稀釋咩叫1:9啊？咁即係我稀釋幾多倍
？99倍。
係啊，
漂白水99個水。
係啦，加
99
份水落去咯，即係一份漂白水入邊再放多99份嘅水落去咯。最尾你嘅酸咧係溝稀咗100倍啦。係啊，所以咧而家你喺市面上邊啱晒啦。疫情期間咧，你越嚟越明咧，其實喺度呢個世界玩緊啲乜嘢？喺出邊嘅世界咧，就話俾大家聽咧，點樣令到啲普通市民好明白，即係我哋要科普啊，真係呢個科普嚟嘅。你點樣去令到佢明白我而家做緊啲乜嘢？咁所以咧，佢哋噏嗰啲字咧，嗰啲 term 都好特別嘅。啊，1:99， 1:49，有冇聽過？嗱，1:99、1:49同埋1:4， 1:9好啦，冇聽過。但係頭先嗰3個咧，就喺你睇嗰啲衞生防護中心咧，你要見到呢3個比例嘅。但係再講一次啊，1:99、1:49同1:4。1:99咧就係咩嘅咧？ you are dealing with the dilution of the chlorine bleach. For example, at home, you want to just sweep the floor, okay, for sanitizing. So you only use 1 to 99 diluted chlorine bleach is enough. Do you understand? But you go to hospital, they will be asked you to do the dilution up to 1 to 49. Can you get on fire? If you see the scenes where there is blood and you want to clean it, so besides wiping away those blood, what you need to do is to have a chlorine bleach diluted as 1:4, which means 5 times dilution. So we have got different procedure, serving different purpose. Do you understand? 明晒啦嘛？原來溝稀呢一個玩法咧，所謂1:99、1:49、1:4咧，就話俾你聽咩？溝稀100倍、溝稀50倍同埋溝稀5倍。嗱，呢個真係原來我哋頭先計咗一大抽嘢咧，就係同我哋日常生活中有關嘅。明唔明白？get 到咯？有咩問先呢度？明明地咯，因為我今日咧最主要就係同大家講計數嘅問題啊。 諗咗數嘅先。所以記住啊，呢度條題目佢問你溝稀10倍就加9份水得啦。但係如果你話溝稀10倍咧加10份水咧，最尾佢係溝起咗11倍嘅。啊，同學要留意啦。嗱，當然啦，計呢啲數有個 assumption 嘅，個 assumption 係咩啊？100 cm cube 嘅酸，100 cm cube 嘅酸，再加900 cm cube 嘅水咧，係真係會出到1000 cm cube 嘅溶液嘅。個現實係咪㗎？未必㗎喎。你記唔記得喺 Form 1嘅時候做過呢個實驗啊？將兩隻唔同嘅 solution 撈得勻嘅，大家都話50 cm cube，咁一齊倒落去之後，你度去個 total volume 係幾多？唔一定係等於100嘅。So do you understand? So you understand the whole flow. So that's why in the calculation, in practice, while you prepare the solution, there will be some more convenient method to let you make sure that the solution has been diluted to the number of times that you are required to do. OK， 咁真實嘅我哋做實驗嗰時，我哋會有呢啲措施。好，要 go to MCs。You go to MCs。咁嗰啲 lab 嗰啲 procedure， 下堂講啦，因為都一講有排講啊，一發不可收拾㗎啦。阿 Sir 有排講，滔滔不絕㗎啦，又會。嗱咁啊，今日你教咗啲咩咧？即係頭先阿 Sir 講咗啲咩咧？教你有啲蠱惑招數。其實你計呢啲數咧係有啲蠱惑招嘅，因為原來溝稀啊，尤其溝稀嘅 concept 咧就係諗緊咩咧？諗緊溝稀幾多倍，加幾多份水嗰個關係。咁你可以用呢個 trick 去玩嘅。同呢個題目有關嘅 MC 咧，就係留意下第2條，咁就做咯喎。第2條、第3條、第4條，得唔得？2、3、4。好，今日臨尾啦。2、3、4。睇下要問計到啦。第2條。知嘅話就可以 type 落去嗰個 chat box 嗰度。The volume of 0.40 mole per liter sodium hydroxide if it's diluted to this to make it this solution。好，跟住即係溝幾多落去？一個 DM cube 喎，即係幾多摩啊？0.01摩咯。即係我總共你個 solute 即係 NaOH 咧，應該係0.0100摩嘅，係嘛？咁但係個 volume 個濃度咧就係0.04咯。咁而家爭 volume 㗎嘛 ？volume 係幾多？好，談翻又計到幾多？你咁做啦，係咪？最傳統嘅做法。不過你要偷步嘅呢啲又係。咁你計到啲咩 ？volume 計到嘛？係嘛 ？C 啊，得唔得？做唔做到？咁你個 V 咧唔係25.0嚟嘅，你 V 咧你應該計到幾多咧？係應該25.0乘10嘅負3嘅，係嘛？因為咧個單位咧呢度係 DM cube 嚟。有冇嘢問？好，跟住第2條喎。第2條1.62 gram。 3.00 mol per dm cube HNO3 diluted to 18.0 dm cube. What is the concentration of the diluted solution in gram per dm cube？ 呢個好易做啊，用翻我頭先個 trick 啦，做到噶啦，係點啊？溝稀咗嘅倍先，3，你可以用溝稀嘅倍諗翻轉頭又得。你應該見到咧就係1.62 dm cube 變18係咪？18除1.62，即係加咗幾多？11.25係咪啊？所以咧應該點啊？咁我應該計到係0.270嘅 Molarity diluted solution in mol per dm cube 咧，應該係0.270 mol per dm cube 嘅。計唔計到先呢度？有冇人計唔到呢度？有人唔知點解會計到呢個嘢出嚟嘅？話俾我聽啦，唔知出聲。嗱，知我繼續啊。咁所以咧，我而家變 gram per dm cube 嘛，咁應該會做啲咩？除佢哋嘅乘佢哋嘅咩啊？我點知乘定除啊？除好亂喎，又話乘又話除咁樣。咁你可以咁樣做嘅，mol 變 gram 啊，你要 gram 唔要 mol 啊嘛。咁你係咩啊？乘咯，乘佢 molar mass， 乘佢 molar mass of HNO3 係63.0。咁所以咧個答案已經計完啦，係17.0，計唔計到？好，第3 ，the pH of a sample of sulfuric acid is 2.6。100 of this sample is mixed with 100 cm of water. So what is the pH of the resulting solution? 100 cm cube 嘅 sample 即係 sulfuric acid 就攞100 cm cube 嘅水，咁最後個 pH 值升咗幾多？溝稀咗1倍係咪？乘咗2，所以咧個 pH 值就升咗幾多？首先唔會係2.6先啦，亦都唔會1.3啦，係嘛？加咗水之後冇酸度唔啱啦，係咪？跟住加咗水之後仲酸咗唔啱啦，係咪？加咗水之後個 pH 值 double 都唔啱啦，明唔明啊？因為我要令到佢升一個單位，升 pH 值啊，升一個單位，我係要做咩啊？要溝稀10倍啊！記唔記得嗰個重點啊？ If you want to increase the pH of 1 unit, you are going to have a 10 times dilution. So the answer is B. 明唔明？ It's something more than that. If you are going to increase the pH from 4.6 to 5.8, 咁你要溝稀咧幾多啊？你而家係爭嘅 pH 係10 to the power minus 2 5 something 3.2倍10嘅 power 負3.2啊！黐線，梗係唔啱啦，明唔明 ？get 到嘛？好，所以就嚟個總結咯。 你話俾我聽呢度發生緊咩事？我哋咁堂成個鐘計嚟計去就係計緊 dilution 嘅啫。咁 dilution 咧就係we just focus on point 1 and point 2 only. The dilution of the solution, and no matter is acid or alkali or some other solution, right? The constant amount of the solute in mole remains unchanged, and that is the basics. While you do have this formula, okay, and use this for calculations. Second, sometimes the DSC questions will ask you interchangeably. You talk about concentration in solution and molarity of solution, which is the molar concentration, which is in gram in mole per dm grip. But how would you change that to? How would you change it to? So it depends on the direction of arrow, right? If you are going to make it from gram per mole, what you need to do is to make it mole. You don't need the gram. So which means divided by molar mass. But you go in reverse, you are going to times molar mass. Okay? Do you understand? So the way to tackle the problem is to check the units. Okay? Is that clear? Okay? Tell me your level of understanding of this.明唔明？你明呢度發生咩事？識計係嘛？咁同埋我哋頭先有俾少少 tricks 嚟嘅，即係溝起幾多份加幾多水咧，其實係呢個幾好玩嘅遊戲嘅。OK，10 point scale 喎，網友俾個4我想點啊？想死啊你！因為你哋去到計數嗰啲咁冇信心嘅，即刻跌晒咯，跌到咁低嘅呢啲 data。咁慢慢嚟啦，呢啲慢慢嚟。OK， 好，講咗咁多先，下堂再講，拜拜。